Hey guys, this is your host Thomas Irie here from On the Hot Podcast. Today, this would be episode 248 for you guys today. And to kick off this week's episode, we'll start off in the world of basketball inside the NBA world. And I'll be sharing my NBA award predictions heading into the second half of the NBA season. So we'll start off with the MVP award and work our way through the award predictions. Starting off with the NBA MVP. My pick to win this year's NBA MVP award is actually going to be Cade Cunningham, player for the Detroit Pistons. Now, it's easy to predict that star players like SGA or Nikola Jokic will win another MVP award right now. And if you're a sports bettor out there, they're the odds-on favorites to win the MVP award this NBA season. But Cade Cunningham has been elite for the Detroit Pistons this season. He's averaging 25 points per game, 5 rebounds, 9 assists, shooting the ball over 45% from the field, and looked marvelous, dropping 42 points against the New York Knicks. He's currently the co-owner of the New York Knicks as we speak this NBA season. But I think that one of the reasons why Cade Cunningham really does deserve to be NBA MVP this year, he's led the Detroit Pistons to being the best team in the Eastern Conference, or the number one ranked team in the Eastern Conference standings. And his leadership has been very pivotal for the Detroit Pistons' success. He's been a tremendous two-way player. Like, this is the guy that gets it done on the offensive side and the defensive side of the ball for the Detroit Pistons. And he's a great all-on-ball defender for the Detroit Pistons. And my guy, Manny Wilson, the runner, the host podcast, touched up on it about this matter last week on his show and made a good point. The NBA rules for players are playing a certain amount of games to win the NBA awards. You must play 65 games at least to win an NBA award. And I'm looking at the other players that's in the race. SGA is dealing with an abdominal injury, can only miss 11 more games this NBA season. Nikola Jokic missed 16 games with a knee injury. He can only miss one more game before being ineligible to win the NBA MVP award or any NBA award this year. So with those two being the sports betting odds-on favorites, I'm going with Cade Cunningham. That's been more reliable. He's been more durable, and he's done a lot of great things for the Detroit Pistons. And what does the NBA do? They always go with they most likely go with the NBA MVP award, giving it to the guy with the most success with their team. And I know OKC is one of the top tier teams in the Western Conference, hell, the best team in the Western Conference in the standings, but SGA has missed time. Cade Cunningham really hasn't. And that's the argument that I have, that Cade Cunningham could most likely win this year's NBA MVP award. For Defensive Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year, I'm going to go with Victor Wembanyama. I think this is going to be a unanimous decision across the board that Victor Wembanyama should win Defensive Player of the Year this NBA season. I think Victor Wembanyama is the most deserving to win Defensive Player of the Year. Some people will say Victor Wembanyama is only good defensively because of his height, because of his reach, because he's an alien from a different species. But I do think Victor Wembanyama is the real deal on the defensive side of the ball. And he's showing how a defensive big man should play in the NBA with that type of height and reach. So he's using it to his advantage. He's a great defender in the league. He's very physical. He's a great rim protector as well. Has no problem guarding your best players from point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, all the way to center. He is a very versatile defensive player in the NBA for a league that does not play much defense anymore. But Victor Wembanyama, he's great defensively. Great defensive rating, averages 2.7 blocks per game. Hell, I was watching the game Monday night between the Spurs and the Pistons where Victor Wembanyama had a total of 6 blocks. And his defensive play has motivated the San Antonio Spurs to play great defensively. They're a top 5 defensive unit in the NBA today. So Victor Wembanyama clearly deserves to win Defensive Player of the Year, in my opinion, this NBA season. Moving on to Rookie of the Year. Rookie of the Year, I think this is a clear, unanimous decision that it will be Cooper Flagg for the Dallas Mavericks that will win Rookie of the Year. Now, I'm looking at Colin Kneppel. I'm a big fan of him. Rookie for the Charlotte Hornets that was a top 5 pick coming from Duke University as well with Cooper Flagg. But I think Cooper Flagg has demonstrated why he's most deserving to win Rookie of the Year this year. He's been more consistent, been more of a dynamic player on both ends of the court. And I think the play that Cooper Flagg has shown for the Dallas Mavericks, they have something to rave about after trading away Luka Doncic last year. They have something to rave about, that this guy could be the face of the franchise. And I think he's going to be a fun player to follow for the next several years in the NBA. But I think he's going to win Rookie of the Year this year. And he's averaging also, I want to add that he's averaging 20 points per game, shooting over 45% from the field. And again, a good two-way player. Now, most improved player as I get tongue-tied, would have to be Jalen Johnson of the Atlanta Hawks. Now, I think Jalen Johnson has came a long way for the Atlanta Hawks. He was a part of that 2021 NBA draft class, drafted by the Atlanta Hawks. Has been a part of the franchise ever since, and he was drafted in the first round that year. But with Trae Young being traded to the Washington Wizards a month or so ago, Jalen Johnson could possibly become the next face of the Atlanta Hawks franchise. And he's viewed as the number one scoring option for the Atlanta Hawks ever since they traded Trae Young to the Washington Wizards. But Jalen Johnson has come a long way. He made his first NBA All-Star appearance this NBA season, averaging 23 points per game, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. That's nearly a triple-double. And I think he has a bright future in the NBA, but most improved player definitely would have to go to Jalen Johnson if he continues to keep this up for the second half of the NBA season. Then I'm looking at Sixth Man of the Year. Sixth Man of the Year, we're going to go with Naz Reid for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, Naz Reid is a perfect six-man player coming off the bench with this talented Minnesota Timberwolves team. I mean, they've been to the Western Conference 2 times back-to-back years in the NBA. I mean, they got so much talent across the board. They got Anthony Edwards, Mike Conley, Jaden McDaniels, Rudy Gobert, Julius Randle. But having a perfect six-man to come off the bench like Naz Reid, he's been thriving in that role for years. And he's backing up 2 great big men that the Minnesota Timberwolves use in their starting 5. You have Julius Randle at the power forward position, then you have Rudy Gobert at the center position. That's a good spark off the bench. And he's averaging 14 points per game. And he actually won this award back in 2024. So he's no stranger to what it's like to be a Sixth Man of the Year in the NBA. And I would not be surprised if he wins this award again this NBA season. And to close out the segment, oh, I got 2 more actually. I'm sorry. A clutch player of the year, I would go with Anthony Edwards. I think he's been a dynamic clutch player this NBA season. I think he's really in line to win that award. But then I'm going to go with coach of the year. Now this, I had to think about this one, but I think it's a good one. Coach of the year, I'm going to go with J.B. Bickerstaff for the Detroit Pistons. Now, J.B. Bickerstaff has done the dirty work for the Detroit Pistons over the last several years. And when Monty Williams came to Detroit a few years ago, everybody thought that was a steal for the work that he did with the Phoenix Suns, helping them to get to the NBA Finals a few years ago. He got to Detroit and stunk up the joint with a record of 14 wins, 68 losses. And that was the worst record that the Detroit Pistons ever had in franchise history. He was fired by the team in 2024. Fast forward that summer, you hired J.B. Bickerstaff to be your head coach, and things have been day and night for the Detroit Pistons. I mean, this franchise looked dead in the water, but J.B. Bickerstaff has tremendously turned things around. And J.B. Bickerstaff, year 1 with the Detroit Pistons, took them to the playoffs. They fought tooth and nail with the New York Knicks in the first round. They obviously got eliminated last year in the first round. But then you fast forward to this year, they're on top of the Eastern Conference, and they had the New York Knicks number right now. I mean, they're true heavyweight contenders to win it all in the NBA. Not just the Eastern Conference, but in the NBA. They could truly win it all this NBA season. And the foundation has been laid perfectly by J.B. Bickerstaff and his coaching staff. This NBA Detroit Pistons team has been fun to watch. If you think that the NBA has been a little bit boring, there's not a lot of defense being played, tune into the Detroit Pistons, because this is a team that you want to see. If you love physical basketball, scrappy basketball, a team that plays well on both ends of the court, offensively, defensively, and they want smoke with whoever they're hooping with on the court or in a brawl, this is your team to follow, the Detroit Pistons. And you have to give J.B. Bickerstaff a lot of credit for developing this young, talented roster into what they are today. And he has helped Cade Cunningham become a top 10 player in the NBA. And Cade Cunningham could possibly win his first NBA MVP award. And it would be some of the thanks, I should say, some of the credit and the thanks should be given to JB Bickerstaff if Cade Cunningham can pull this off this NBA season. So those are my NBA award predictions for this year's NBA season.